Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, SEO, What It Is and Why You Should Have Started 6 months ago. My name's Sharissa. I'm going to be speaking on this topic, and we also have Rick Greenfield on as well as a panelist. We're going to give everybody about 2 to 3 minutes to jump on, so that way we can catch all the stragglers.
Someone sent it to Michelle.
Really? Oh, we'll just click on that.
All right, everyone. We'll go ahead and kick this off for any stragglers that just jumped on. The topic today is SEO, what it is and why you should have started 6 months ago. Again, my name's Sharissa, and we also have Rick on as a panelist.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you, Rick. Today we're going to go over, and our objectives are understand what SEO is, why it's important. We're going to compare SEO to PPC or SEM. And we're going to talk to how to successfully integrate SEO and combination plans into your marketing mix. So we're going to start it up really quick with a poll question here. And the first question is, do you currently optimize your website for search engine keywords?
Just want to make sure we don't have a technical difficulty. I'm not seeing slides, and I'm also not seeing the poll.
Thank you, Rick. Are you able to see the slides now?
Yes, but we should have the actual go-to web poll come up here as well.
Let's see here. I think we are having a little bit of a difficulty here with the polls being brought up. If y'all could just type into the chat box if you feel like to say yes, no, or what you talking about, Willis. That way we can get an idea of what the audience is experienced with and where we can go from there. We'll give people a few seconds to type that in. And then we'll have Michelle, if you're on the line, if you'll read off any of the answers.
Yep, absolutely. So we've had one person say yes and 2 people say no so far.
Okay, that's good. I'm happy to hear that there are some people that do optimize for their website. For those who have said no or maybe didn't get a chance to reply, we're going to go more into what exactly it is and why you need to start doing it. So, what is SEO? SEO stands for search engine optimization and is the process of optimizing your website for search engine result pages, which also are known as SERPs, just shorthand, so that way we can go a little bit quicker there. And it's optimizing it on those search engines for you to reach potential clients or customers so that they can find you. Every single search engine, including Google, Bing, and Yahoo, has its own algorithms, rules, bots, and crawlers that go through your website. And what it does, it's going to take into account the overall site coding and unique content coding. And it's going to make sure that your site is recognized and ranked for each search engine. I've said a lot of words there, bots, crawlers, all of that. It sounds very technical and it can be, but what it boils down to is how it works. So SEO works by these search engines using those bots and crawlers. And what they do is they go through your website and they're going to catalog all of the site's data that you have on there on the back end and front end. The data is then used to match up users searching for specific keywords to get them to the best landing page for whatever they're searching for. And again, each search engine wants to provide the most accurate information so that users will continue to use their platform. What they want to do essentially is they're making money off of you landing on the right page. So they're going to keep going through with these bots and crawlers and making sure they're sending people to the best landing page possible.
Well, I think that's a good point to make, Sharissa, that the whole idea of SEO and the whole point of what Google, Bing, and Yahoo are doing is they're trying to deliver the right results to the people that are searching for items on the web. And so it's about you helping those automated crawlers know that you are indeed providing the service that these searchers on the web are looking for. And so the idea behind what we're talking about is making sure that those elements exist so that you can be a high ranking result.
Exactly. It really is important to remember that although these search engines are used almost all the time, they are still companies. So what they're trying to do is make sure that they're still profiting. And that's when they're going to use those bots and crawlers to pull them up. And that brings us to the next point of why isn't my website being found? There's a long list of potential issues that you have. You could have a lack of keywords in your content. That includes in any postings, any titles, any headlines, any backends. Surprisingly, your URL age also accounts for SEO ranking. So if you go and get a URL right now compared to one that you've had for 10 years, it's going to take longer for the new one to start ranking. Mobile optimization, the majority of people are using their phone to look at these search engines. So what they're needing to know, Google, Yahoo, and Bing, is that it can be viewed on a mobile phone. And SSL, that is taking your website and securing it. It used to only be required for pages that had payments of any sort, but now a lot of the search engines are taking it more into account with the increase in activity of people being able to hack into information. So these search engines don't want to send people to your website if it isn't protected. Relevant content tags and meta tags are also important. The content is on the front end, tags and meta tags are on the back end. You need to consistently keep that content unique as well. If you're posting the same thing every single time, you might get noticed for those keywords, but if you're not keeping it unique and you're just copying each thing, it's essentially just putting it out there and reminding them that you still exist. One of the things that comes with that unique content is backlinking. So if you're writing a blog, making sure that you're linking to other credible resources, and if people are linking to your website, that's even better. And like we were talking about with the landing page, nothing gets you more traffic like more traffic. if people are going to your website because they've searched for keywords, what those search engines are going to start to realize is that, hey, these people are getting what they need from this landing page. So the more traffic you get for those keywords, the more traffic you're going to get overall.
Well, and I mean, so these search engines are looking at bounce rates, and that's actually something you can look at through analytics. But if someone is searching and landing on your website and bouncing very quickly away from your website, they can assume that it was not a good match for that searcher. However, if they are searching and land on your website and they stay there for a long period of time and click on several pages, then that means that you were a good match and it helps you rank higher. So even some of the things that we like to do as it relates to marketing and driving traffic to your website, at least I believe that does contribute substantially to your rankings on these various platforms.
It absolutely does. If you start searching things and you stop clicking on them, Google's going to recognize it and push it down. So the next step, if we can have people chime in again in the chat, is when is the last time you audited your website for keywords in search engine rankings? Have you never done it? Have you done it within the past month, the past quarter, or the past year? And we'll give y'all a few seconds to chime in there. And then Michelle, whenever you see a few answers, if you'll just let me know, please.
So far we have 2 within the past year and 1 who said never.
Awesome. About the past year, that's a start. Never, this is a start too. So we'll go into why it's important, why you need it, and then why you need to audit it. If you're not optimizing your website and you aren't consistently keeping up with it, you're not going to be found for those keywords that are prevalent to you and your organization. So let's say we have a client that wrote a blog about lupus, but they no longer have any active studies for lupus, and yet there's still a ranking on those pages. That's not bad traffic, but that isn't prevalent to what you want to do. We need to make sure that we're honing in on each brand and what they need and look at the longevity of it. So from a pure statistical standpoint, looking at why you need SEO, 93% of internet traffic begins with a search engine. Google changes its search algorithm between 500 to 600 times per year. It processes 5.5 billion searches per day. After that, less than 25% of people visit the second page of SERPs. The first organic listing on SERPs gets an average of a 34.36 click-through rate, and organic listings receive more conversions than paid advertising. Like Rick was mentioning about the bounce back rate, if you have less of a bounce back rate with organic things, they're more engaging with you. Whereas with paid advertisement, I know I'm guilty of it when I've accidentally clicked on a banner and then I go back, so I'm not converting for them.
Well, just to reiterate a couple of things here, consistency, having a process by which you're constantly updating your website for SEO is one very important element to making sure that you stay high in the rankings. But I was actually just looking at some analytics a couple of days ago as we were preparing for this webinar. And it was for a client that we're doing a lot of paid advertising for, but we're also helping them with website optimization, and they get a very large amount of organic traffic to their website as well. The conversion rates on the organic traffic were double that of paid advertising. So even though it was less traffic overall, the quality of that traffic, these are people who are obviously online searching for these services, and Google or any of the search engines recognize that as very relevant queries and populated them high up on the results list. And therefore, when those people came to the website, they had an extremely high interest level, and again, double the conversion rate. So while there is a cost to continually and consistently keeping your SEO rankings high, it actually pales in comparison to marketing and advertising. So you can honestly see how important SEO can be to getting new business for a very affordable rate overall.
Absolutely. And we have a few examples of when things worked and when they didn't work. So that's perfect to keep in mind. So this next one is going based off of that. Let's go ahead and have all the participants and people on here open up a browser and search for what you want to be known for, either like clinical trials, dermatology, or whatever's relevant to you and your city. We'll take a poll. We'll give you a few seconds to do that and let us know if you're on the first page or not. So like for us on ImageBloom, we would want to search marketing San Antonio or marketing firm San Antonio and see if we pop up.
Well, this is going to take a little bit longer, and since our poll questions aren't working, it may be a little bit more difficult. But you know, certainly we'd love your feedback if you populate it well. But even just for your own knowledge, you know, you can know if you did or not. And I think, Sharissa, we can move on to kind of where this leads to. If you didn't show up on the first page, chances are SEO is something that you could be working on. If you did, were you at the bottom of the page or at the top of the page? If you're top of the page, I would guess you're already doing some things right as it relates to SEO. But in most cases, we find that clients who aren't really actively pursuing a good SEO strategy have trouble finding first page results.
Exactly. So that goes into it next. If you weren't visible, why aren't you appearing on those SERPs? You're either not properly optimizing for the keywords you searched for. So that's including the content that Rick spoke about. That's including on the back end of indexing, coding, and tagging those keywords. So that way the bots and crawlers can find you. Or you're just not using keywords enough. If you're just saying one word like lupus in a blog and you're not putting it in the headlines or anywhere else and you're not optimizing it truly, you're just adding content, then that's not really search engine optimization. That's just adding content. So it's taking everything into account to do that and make sure that you are visible. So then the next question is, how can you become visible on SERPs? Or if you're already visible, how can you maintain it? First and foremost, for the people who said that they haven't done SEO or they haven't audited in quite a while, SEO requires setup and maintenance. It typically can take between 3 to 6 months to see any improvements in SEO rankings for keywords. On Bing and Yahoo, let's be realistic, we keep saying Google because that's what we all use. It's easier to get ranked on Bing and Yahoo, but what our goal is to get ranked on all search engines. And also posting content to social media and your website is not enough to rank you higher. It's very, very important, but it's also that back end setup and maintenance that's required. And that goes into linking, listings, and auditing. It's truly a long-term marketing plan.
And I like to think of it, and I think the easiest way to think of it as a business mind is it's an investment. It's a long-term investment that you're making in your company to ensure that you are prevalent and that you're coming up in those results. And so with that 3 to 6 month timeline, and we might when we first start doing SEO, we might actually see a fairly quick jump initially from maybe the 4th page to the 3rd page or to the 2nd page, but really getting up there consistently on that first page is where you're going to see a longer time frame to get there. And then of course you have to consider staying there and the maintenance that's required to get there. But it's an investment that definitely pays off long term.
It truly is. And like Rick was saying, making sure you're staying up there. That's why it's important to look at the brand. If you're wanting to do clinical trials, are you doing a certain type of clinical trials and things like that? It's a marathon. You got to be the turtle in this and understand that it's going to take some work. And we actually have a case study, how Rick said that it's possible to start ranking higher. Here is an SEO success case study. So we had client one, he wanted to start being recognized on the first page for a very long tail keyword. So what he did is he researched the keywords for his local area and found the best fit for those searches and for the client, he started increasing the blog post amount and also the length of blog posts, and introduced more backlinking into the website and blogs. Since this was a very specific keyword, he was able to get the first page within 52 days. That's amazing. It's great to see when that happens. It's what we aim for. Of course, we can't guarantee the first spot, but we will try as hard as possible to get you there because it's important. And again, just reiterating that it takes time. Overall, in general, those 52 days may not have been all work on the back end. It may have just been allowing those search engines to have those crawlers and bots go through, index, and catalog all the data. So how we were talking about before, SEO is a long-term plan, it's an investment, it's a marathon. How can you start making SEO work for you now? You really can't. You can't rush SEO. If you use any tricks to try to get through the system, you will get banned from search engines, or you will get pushed back and you won't be able to be indexed anymore. It's something that you need to be very careful with whenever you're auditing or looking for other people to help you with it, or if you're doing it yourself. It's something that it's not worth the risk. One thing that you can do though right now to start getting immediate attention is SEM or PPC, which stands for Social Engine Marketing, or I'm sorry, Search Engine Marketing and pay-per-click. And those are the top results marked as ads on all SERPs. So going into why it's very bad to use black hat tricks, which is the ones that are frowned upon by all of the search engines. Here is a failure case study, and it's actually very famous. Y'all may have heard of it. It happened with JCPenney. JCPenney, when they built out their website, they were trying to start building up their online sales. So what they did is they went in and they attempted to backlink to over 2,000 websites with no content to promote these market items. It got so bad that the New York Times actually wrote an expose on it, and Google had to investigate it. The keyword rankings for JCPenney immediately fell from the first page to past the fifth and well beyond. JCPenney, in the long term, they fired that entire marketing firm and had to start over. It just truly is not worth it. The time it takes, 3 to 6 months, trying to start that over again, it's better spent putting in the actual work. So going back to how you can get recognized now is using that SEM and that pay-per-click. So the paid ads are always going to appear at the top of the SERP. They're automatic, it doesn't take time, and it doesn't take time to start ranking. If you have a Google AdWords account and you want to start getting traffic now, SEM and PPC are your best option, even if it's some money to get there to start with brand recognition.
Of course, I just want to point out that those tactics are not substitutes for good SEO. Those are sort of obviously, again, paid advertising where you're sponsoring links. And it's a way to make sure that you are coming up as a result in searches, and you have to bid and be a top bidder to be at the top of the list. But it is certainly a way that you can start populating as a top result today. But I also know some people that stray away from any sort of a sponsored ad as well, and they only want to look at organic results. So again, to my earlier point, because we are talking about SEO specifically today, yes, you can be at the top of the list. Yes, you can drive traffic, and a lot of it, but the quality of the traffic is the other thing that you're giving up if you don't have a good SEO strategy. So with SEO, although it takes more time and it takes that investment, you're looking at that organic top of the page result, which means you're going to get much higher quality traffic. And I think overall for a lot less expense long term than actually doing paid advertising. So a lot of organizations do a combination of both. But you know, SEO, it just goes back to the fact that SEO is a very important part of a successful marketing strategy.
Absolutely. And we'll go into more about how Rick said about combination plans. But he's absolutely right. Even though it's an immediate result, I'm sure that most of us have clicked on a banner ad by accident, or most of us have clicked on a Google ad by accident and clicked back. But one of the great things about partnering them together, if that's something you're interested in, it can lead to 50% more leads than organic alone. And 65% of all clicks from SERPs go to those advertisements. In combination with that, Google found that those ads with the SEO work can increase your brand awareness by up to 80%. So going to best practices, we're talking about SEO, we're talking about getting you noticed, and we want to make sure that we're doing it right. What you need to do is use brand specific keywords. You need to make sure that you're looking for what you need as a company and then your brand. You want to also use long tail keywords for the best results. An example that I used the other day is, it's been raining like crazy here in San Antonio. If I was just to open up Google right now and search lawn care San Antonio, there's going to be a million people that pop up and everyone's going to be trying to get to that top one. But if I search, I have uncontrollable bamboo, if I could type in bamboo removal San Antonio, that's more specific to what I'm looking for truly, and I'll be able to find that. You want to make sure that you have good user experience. You make sure that the front end of your website is user accessible, including that mobile optimization, but also that the back end is bot accessible. We talked about bots and crawlers. If you don't actually go in there to allow them to index and catalog your data, it won't even do it. So you have to make sure that your website has that capability. And again, audit. It's great to see where it is, so that way you can see where the work is going. I know with clients where I work on SEO, what I want to do is look at the keywords, where they're ranking at, what position they're coming in at, and seeing what we can do and going there. You're going to miss the opportunities to optimize if you're not auditing it frequently, because you may miss that you've fallen off the page and now it's trying to get back up there.
Well, just to reiterate specificity, and so you had a good example, lawn care versus bamboo removal. And maybe even a better way to say it is, the results you're going to see when you type in bamboo removal are going to be those companies out there that not only provide that service, but have also optimized their website for that service. So if you're a dermatology practice and you're wanting to sell or offer a certain specific part of your practice, maybe you have the Kybella procedure available to the community, then you're going to want to make sure that you are using keywords specific to that condition that people are going to have needing the Kybella solution, as well as Kybella itself. And then people that are searching for that specific issue and problem and solution are, if you've optimized correctly, are going to see your website as a top result.
Exactly. And then that brings us to, how do you start? If you want to rank for Kybella, if you want to rank for indications, where do you start? You can go for third-party programs. Those are available to monitor positions and rankings. Some are as simple as, here you are, here's what it does. Some of them are contracts that you can sign with other companies. It really depends on what you're looking for. There are website plugins that are available, but that's just the basic level of optimization. It's going to say, hey, Google, Yahoo, Bing, we're here. Come take a look at us. But it's going to then rely on internal optimization as well. Having an employee that consistently checks for all the items necessary for improving rankings. And that goes back to our checklist there of, is it mobile friendly? Does it have SSL? Is it the appropriate content? And going down that list. And like I said, these parties and plugins only address some of the elements required for SEO. It can be a lot for someone to take on in their own, or it can be a lot to try to go out there and just pay something for the bare minimum. So now what next? What you really need to take a look at is, what is most important for you and your brand. Like we've kept saying, everyone has a unique need. We have dermatologists, we have people that conduct only clinical trials, we have people that only conduct dermatology clinical trials. What we need to decide, or what you need to decide as a brand, is, what do you want people to find you for? what do you want to continue to be fined for? You can look at doing an SEO and an SEM or pay-per-click combination. Like we went back to, it increases your brand awareness and it can get some immediate clicks, but the long-term solution is so that way we can get your rankings up. And then you can also reach out to the experts. This is us, our entire team of ImageBloom over here on the right. On the top, we have Brandy, Rick, and Haley, our management team. And down below, we have our account managers, our call center manager, and our content specialist. We're experts. We work in this every single day. We're working with our clients to make sure that we're giving them the best results possible.
Well, and I just want to mention that, there's SEO companies out there, and I always think they're really expensive. And I think that maybe I really believe that they're too expensive and you don't need to spend that much money. There's a lot of work that goes into initially getting you optimized for SEO, but the ongoing maintenance, I think, can be a lot lighter than what a lot of these companies out there are charging for. And a lot of what ImageBloom does for clients really includes SEO on a monthly basis. So we're automatically providing a lot of updates to content and whatnot. And our SEO packages really is just a review of the keywords and backlinking and meta tags, just to make sure that they're still relevant. But there's a very minimal amount of work that really needs to go into the ongoing maintenance. And really where a lot of the great SEO comes from is the updates to content, so blogging and driving traffic to your website, and that's really more pure marketing. So I think if for the companies out there that are just paying a straight monthly fee for SEO specifically, I've seen price tags up above $1,000 a month for that. I really think you're probably overpaying, and you can probably find a better solution that will provide you with excellent SEO, and for that price tag, probably a lot more.
Absolutely. I can say I have worked for a big business before that did this type of work. And for a bare minimum of only optimizing for 3 keywords was around $600 to $700 per month. And you also didn't get an account manager. It wasn't anything like that. You would submit your information, and if you had questions, you would call a hotline. That's why I also wanted to include our pictures over there, as this is our team and we are the experts here. Next up, we're just going to open it to questions. Make sure that I addressed everything that y'all had any concerns about or wanted to know more about. If I skipped over anything, if I said some SSL, SERPs, any words that you need clarification, please feel free to type those in now. We'll give y'all a few seconds to type them in. Otherwise, listed right here is ImageBloom's contact information and then my contact information as well.
So Sharissa, we've got our first question.
Awesome.
And it is, how often should I update my website for SEO purposes?
So going back to what Rick said and what we talked about being brand specific, it truly only matters which keywords you are trying to pick. Please excuse this. So if you're trying to pick something like dermatology, that one's going to take a very, very long time to go in and optimize for. So that's going to be something that you need to go into almost regularly and make sure that you're uploading the most accurate content, you're building out the most accurate pages, you're doing all that you can. That's going to take a significant amount of work. If we're going back to something, we're saying dermatology clinical trials, that may require less work. It comes in at the ground where we have to do some research, see what's available, see what's going on in your area, and then give you an idea of how often you should get in there.
I think a even simpler answer, though, I mean, that was a great answer, but as far as how often, I think a lot of people don't really put, this is not even a once a month activity for them. And I think that it needs to be at a minimum monthly, and probably even more like once every 2 weeks that you're updating content on your website to keep new and fresh content moving onto the website, and reevaluating the various keywords that you have in place for the services that you're providing. But I would say no less than once per month, having some fresh content coming onto the website to make sure that your rankings stay near the top.
Absolutely. The more, the better.
And that's true too. The more, the better for sure.
Yes.
Awesome. So our second question, the listener says, I'm located in Florida and the ranking competition is tough. Do you have any tips on how my site can rank better for clinical trials?
Yeah, so going back to my previous example, if you're in Florida conducting specific clinical trials, let's start building something out for that. Look at what the common factor is. Like I said, if you're only doing dermatology, if you're doing rheumatology, start looking at those keywords, look at where other people are ranking, what they're doing, and then so that way you can see what you're getting yourself into, preparing your long-term marketing plan with that SEO and getting into there. But that's why we say it takes 3 to 6 months. Sometimes it truly is that difficult to get up there with those keywords.
Well, and Florida is a very busy market, especially for clinical trials. So you're definitely talking about a challenge here. You're competing with a lot of other businesses. I don't think it's that difficult to be better than most others, though. And so, it does start with what Sharissa was saying, is really comparison. Who is ranking high? And why are they ranking high? And why aren't you ranking high? And so we can make sure that the elements that you need to be in place that compete with these other organizations are there. And then from there, it's really just kind of tweaking and seeing where you're ranking as time goes on. But I do also think that there are times when you have a congested market like that, where that's where the pay-per-click stuff can really come in handy, because if you're willing to bid for a top ranking, then you can make sure that you're always on the first page. So there are different strategies to get you there.
Exactly.
Awesome. So it looks like this is the last question. Unless anybody else has any, please feel free to send them over. But this question is, do these tactics work for Bing search engine or just Google?
All search engines. Like I mentioned earlier, when you're optimizing it, you want to make sure you get everything. Even though I personally use Google, I have seen people use Yahoo and Bing. They each have their own algorithms and rules, like I mentioned, but it's going to be optimizing for all of them because you don't want to miss out on any potential clients, customers, or anyone who needs your services.
Well, and essentially Google, I believe we would all agree, is kind of the gold standard and the most highly utilized. And that's not something we can agree on. It's a fact that Google is the most highly utilized search engine in the world. And so the tactics that we're going to employ are going to be to ensure that you're ranking high on Google. And essentially by doing that, by default, you're going to also rank high on the other search engines as well.
Exactly. Bing and Yahoo just follow in footsteps. Google's the one that we use the most because of how many updates they have. They truly do want to make sure that they're getting people who are searching to those right landing pages.
Great. So it looks like a couple more questions have came in. So this one says, does social media help improve SEO?
Yes and no. The short answer is no. But going back to our earlier comment about how traffic leads to traffic, what you're going to do, claiming the listing, first of all, is going to help your SEO immediately. But posting there regularly is going to drive people to your website, which will then help people recognize that, increase brand awareness. But social media alone is not in a good SEO or really any SEO plan.
I completely agree with your response.
It's unfortunate that a lot of people think that's what it is, since most people go to it first if it pops up, but that isn't all that matters. There's plenty more out there that we can be doing and should be doing.
Well, another way to say it is that obviously having a good social media presence is going to bring traffic to your website, but it's not based on search engine optimization and people finding you through a Google, Bing, or Yahoo search.
Mhm.
So it's not going to capture that market and that audience of people that are searching for your services on those platforms. So there's, obviously we specialize in social digital media, and so it works and it definitely drives traffic, but it's not SEO traffic.
Exactly.
Great. So it looks like this is actually the last question.
Keep them coming. We'll answer questions till we're done.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so this question is, what are the easiest things I can do today to help with SEO?
The easiest things that you can do today, go claim those listings. If you don't have a Facebook, claim that Facebook listing. Make sure it's accurate. Go claim your Google listing. Go claim your Bing listing. Go claim your Yahoo listing. Start working on those, and that's going to be a nice way to get your presence out there. Like we were saying, all those searches that start in the 90% or more are going to start with a search engine. So you're going to go to Google, and if you're not there and the information isn't accurate, then it's just pointless.
That's a great answer. I would also say that you need to make sure that there are some foundational elements in place. And that is, do you have a good website to begin with? And so a good website it has to be mobile optimized. So if Google, I'm just going to say Google and just know that I mean all of them. But if Google doesn't see that your website has mobile scaling and optimizes to mobile platforms, you're already going to be deranked right then and there. If you don't have SSL installed, you're going to be deranked. And so really those three elements: a good website, that one, you're trying to reduce bounce rates. So if you're driving people to your website because you do have some SEO in place and maybe you're mobile optimized to some degree, if it's not a good website that's delivering the information, then people are going to land there and they're going to click away and they're going to go find a website that they can work with and they can get the information that they're looking for. So if you don't have the foundation of a good website that's mobile optimized and utilizing SSL, then anything else you do is really kind of for naught. After that, what Sharissa is talking about, making sure that you have your listings updated, and then it's the back end stuff, and that's where maybe it gets a little bit more technical, and that's where someone like us or another agency can help you with making sure you have the keywords and the meta tags, and of course the constant refreshing of content on the site as well. But that's definitely a good place to start.
Were there any
Was
more
that all,
questions?
Michelle, or anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, nope, that was the last of the questions.
Okay, well, that was fun. Thank you,
Yeah,
Sharissa.
absolutely. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us. If you have any questions that you couldn't think of at the time or pops up, again, our contact information is here, and Michelle, we will be sending this out.
Yes, we will. We will send out an email with the video and the slides.
So you'll have everything there, and please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a great day.